Let's finish this out. Let us finish with the drones of murder. Let us see what the end may hold. And no, actually, I was about to go off on a long ramble, but you know what? Let's do that later in this thing. Let's just see first. Da 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 da. 10 points if you know what that is. Hang in there, skeleton. I do quite like this as a symbolic image. Robot hand and skeletal human hand both sort of reaching up together. Very Memento Mori. Ooh, look at that. That cracking flow, that's very good. ChatGPT grading a paper. Yeah, working in public education is like that. Space! Ooh. Well, isn't that fancy? It is. Like, lots of flashing light warning here, by the way. Very nice bits of particle animation there. Blah! I'm a vampire and also a millennial. Like, sorry, no one but millennials uses those fucking emoticons. The effects animation here is very impressive. And, like, the swarm of centipedes in there, like, it's very, very, very pretty effects animation. Better than grading papers, I guess. Big props on the sound editing. Because, like, the space is a difficult thing, right? Because there is no sound. Like, if there is no atmosphere, there is no sound, right? So what they're doing here is they're sort of emulating the idea. Like, they're doing this very, very muffled, very, very quiet. They're getting away with like low rumbles, slight drones, and then right, little things like that. When a character is physically making contact with something and manipulating it in a way that seems like it should be loud, then we do like a little bit of that muffled, hearing it as though you're underwater kind of thing. And there's that balance to walk, right? Because realistically speaking, there should be no sound whatsoever. But as a viewing experience, you kind of need, like, you need at least music, right? Whee! Oh, the law of conservation of momentum is a bitch. Profile picture alert. This is a good sequence, though. Like, cutting to this wide shot, emphasizing the tininess. Like, that's like when we're doing space shit, it's good to have a shot like this to really emphasize. It's very Mass Effect also in the way that it's handling the lighting out here, I feel. Like, Mass Effect had this... What's it called? Chiaroscuro? I think, chiaroscuro. Like, this sort of specific approach to light and shadow with, like, these very deep, dark shadows and this heavy use of glow and saturated color to break out of those shadows, like, to really sort of give that spotlighting effect. This feels like it's drawing from some of the same influences. If you will, yeah. Slightly horrifying that apparently Uzi literally has a programmatic thing in her system where she cannot read obscenity. Well, okay.
Spaceship pilot!
And my mom was back there!
Sorry, I didn't know! Oh.
You were supposed to get away.
Yeah, I'm kinda like actually mad about what you did. But we can talk later!
Ooh. Really just... again, this thing of, like, moments of sincerity cannot be tolerated for too long. So we hit her with a spaceship. Admittedly, excellent animation timing on this. And I guess she's about to burn up in the atmosphere. Well, R.I.P. Uzi's mom. Probably not dead, but still. Someone's doing some fucking work in the compositing and the materials animation. Like, look at the fucking reflections and the lighting on this fucking machine. Right, like, look at the way the highlights are rotating on the... Ooh. That's very pretty and very effective. Nice cut as well here from Uzi, like, doing this backward somersault down to the ladder. Real, like, action GoPro kind of shot tracking the motion of it.
Spaceship pilot!
And my mom was back there!
Sorry, I didn't know. Oh.
We're supposed to get away.
Yeah, I'm kind of like actually mad about what you did. But we can talk later!
Oh, someone's having fun with that spaceship. Very nice tracking shot, this. Very Star Wars. Like, that is fully... That is straight out of a shot you'd see in Revenge of the Sith or something. Good arcs. And you can see the way that they're using the rocket trail on it to help describe the movement that it's making, the motion that it's taking. Where it's sort of like the trail becomes more like a tail in its function of, like, describing the arc of the thing. Again, so much bloody motion blur, but...
Then die mad, bitch!
Moments of sincerity immediately interrupted. Whee! Another wallpaper-worthy shot right there. I mean, they're going... Like, the compositors are going all the fuck out. The storyboarders are going all the fuck out on this. Whee! Ah, friction is a bitch. Very good. The handhold. Bringing it back. And in a big dramatic... That's very, very pretty. That's a movie-ass shot right there. That is, like, the production value, like, regardless of how I feel about any of the plot and shit, I cannot say a bad word about the production value here. I cannot say a bad word about the sheer level of animation technical quality and ability that's on display here. I'll not say a bad word about the storyboarding, because this is very striking.
Well, that issue.
And then, of course, they have to go and do the fucking, oh, well, that happened. They fly now, Marvel movie dialogue.
Well, that's a serious issue. Before that whole thing, we're, like, dating, right?
Oh, yeah.
Just
like
'cause I
that
can't always-
was the
I
plan.
can't always
Yeah,
read.
Like, yeah.
Yay.
Rose, get away! Time to murder a planet!
See, because I like that part of Uzi's character, that she is at once desperate for that authentic, sensitive connection, and also unable to handle it. Again, a thing I wish the show would have spent more time diving into, that inherent contradiction between wanting something very badly, but also having that reflex to reject it. Because that's an interesting point of characterization and something that's very authentic to a teenager. And I'd really like this little animation gesture here. That little double stomp fucking Daffy Duck ass pose. Oh, hello, Hermes. What? Won't be your dinner time for another hour. Know this. I know you know this. You have an internal clock that is more accurate than anything I've ever seen in my life. You know exactly when your dinner time is. You know it to within the second. So what are you doing here? Huh? What are you doing here? Meowing at me. What are you doing here? Huh? What are you doing? Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Ugh. Cat hair in my mouth.
Time to murder a planet!
Yes, thank you, boss. Good as new. Yep, there's cool. Thanks.
Again, what was the point of introducing them with a cool character shot in the previous one? Like,
All right, sentient mass. Time to go in the scary planet hole thing. Hey, ow! Gravity! Okay, I'm fine and calm and go away!
oh, hey! She's still here. And she hasn't done... Okay, we're rule of cooling it now. We are just rule of cooling it.
Guess that easy, nerd!
It's senior informant.
Working with Zen?
The fucking hat is very good. The little look to the side so that the hat can really do the bouncing. That's very good. That's good comedic timing.
Guess that easy, nerd!
It's senior informant.
Again, looks cool as shit. No consistency in the level of power that any character is capable of.
Working with Sin?
Very effectively done with the asteroid, though. Again, lots of good anime flash frame effects. Letting it pierce all the way through, and then following out with like this spiral animation, and letting the frame be still while that thing spins for a second to let that impact land, and then we head into aerial power clash fight shit, right? Fully on some Dragon Ball stuff. And I do like the practice here of like trailing them with those tails of light. Again, helping to describe their motion and keep the action clear to the viewer. What? What are you meowing at, huh? Yelling at. If I let you out, you're gonna be back here. Anyone, chat, take a bet on how long it's gonna take him to come back. Starting now. That is, as a joke, that is almost Digital Circus coded. Couldn't help myself. Oh, that's very good.
We were supposed to get away, Jay! We do our jobs on this planet, and it leaves us alone!
It tricked you. If I promised you anything, it tricked me too.
You know there's no escape, even in death!
I promise it's better on the winning team. As a team.
So this is the thing we were talking about last time, right? Like, battle as a dialogue. They're doing that much more explicitly here. And it works a lot better.
We do our jobs on this planet, and it leaves us alone!
It tricked you. If I promised you anything, it tricked me too.
You know there's no escape, even in death!
I promise it's better on the winning team. As a team.
Oh, how about you bite me?
Yeah, battle as dialogue. Again, too late for me to get invested, but this at least feels like there's a lot more stakes to the fight, like a lot more personal conflict that's driving it.
Suck on dick! Oh, how about you You bite!
This too is Yuri.
You bite me!
Remember what I said about hand-holding being capable of being a very intimate gesture? Yeah.
Hey, Sid! Suck on dick!
Oh, we're really playing with a foreshortening here. Again, a very anime kind of move to play with this, like, extremely heavy distortion into the foreshortening, like, with this very... And again, to build up the tension for the throw.
Sauce! 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 Suck on dick!
Like, the way that she... Like, you can see the way that they cheat very heavily to camera, that she just, like, pops out. And that's another thing. Like, when Murder Drones started out, there was very little cheating to camera happening anywhere because it was so heavily motion capture based, right? And one of the limitations of mocap is that you can't really do shit like this. Like, you can't do these hyper elaborate cheating to camera bits in the same way. They really found some fucking effects compositors who can do the work, man. This too is Yuri. It's like the end of the world is happening, the absolute apocalypse, your friends are doing insane anime shit in the background, but we have swords and we're going to use them on each other. This too is Yuri.
Dropped this. Silly. Hello, Uzi. Hi, Ann. I see. You will not talk to me because I have hurt your feelings. Easier to assimilate than explain anyway.
Bite me!
I mean, she's trying to.
Okay.
Well, that was quick.
Okay. You first, eager beaver. Let me in, 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 let me in.
Impatient, aren't we? I mean, I don't know how much there is to say. A lot of this feels very self-evident, but, like, the level of character animation here is high. Ugh, gross. And very intentionally so gross. Ugh. Very good arcs on her as well. They're really, really hamming up the sort of playful childishness of it. Probably shouldn't take your eyes off her to look at each other soulfully in the eye, but you know. Another very good frame. Again, the attention being paid to like the twisty, spinny, the spiraling motion. Building up tension, 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 and then snap. Good split attention here as well. Uzi in the foreground sort of pawing her own heart back into her chest, which, you know, that's average Thursday in this show. And then N dealing with Sin in the background. Like, very good split attention there, where both actions are readable against each other.
Okay, you first, Eager Beaver.
Lovely use of the lighting from N to, like, do this lighting up Sin from below. And, of course, the creepy finger motions. Very effectively, like, gently horrifying, right? Like, she's not tearing him apart, she's just ripping him apart on pure friction, which is slower and therefore hurts more. Very Sheriff of Nottingham digging his heart out with a spoon. Good arcs. And again, good little visual gestures, the impatience, the excitement. Sort of sadistic enjoyment of the hunt.
But here I thought you stepped it up after. I never needed either of you.
Ah, now we're doing corridor horror. Good squash and stretch there. She's fully moving like the motion aesthetic here of the way that she's moving. She's fully on some Looney Tunes shit. With the scrambling. Which again, like the contrast there is very intentional.
Leg.
Ooh, that's horrifying. The hands, very good. Too many fingers, also. That's... Or wait, are they? 1, 2, 3, 4... Oh, no, there's 5 fingers on each one. I thought for a second they were doing an Elden Ring thing with 6 fingers. No, they're just horrifying the normal ways that hands are horrifying. Again, good attention to the spirals. Not the time to get PTSD in. Can you not have a mental health crisis at a more convenient point? Anyway, we're fading down to the quiet so that we can do a jump scare.
En? You're okay? I wasn't. Tessa, it's Sin. She's here. And I don't know how much you remember, but Jay tricked us. Or it tricked Jay too. And I'm so sorry. I should have been honest. I was just so scared for us. For you.
Stop!
Oh well. Yeah, that was bound to happen.
Do your job and I leave you and N alone. Right, V?
Still.
Bad job, V.
Nasty. Can't begrudge the production quality at any point. Spiral, 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 spiral. Yeah.
Squirmy worm. God fucked it.
Go long, Uzi!
Oh, cool. We're doing a callback to the...
Uzi's not here.
the ray gun from the first episode. Very good.
Hands off! No one traumatizes these weirdly hot robots but me!
Glad you're not dead or whatever.
Boring. And annoying.
Sorry, just me in here. I think dumb things are frickin' cool, and I am... For fun, babe!
Okay.
And it's a music video.
She waits at dawn, looking for a way to escape her lonely heart.
happen. Yeah, it'll also happen.
Wrong team.
No more tricks.
He's out there meowing now, by the way.
I don't know, I feel like we need a secret handshake or something, right?
Puppies! Oh no! Undercut it with a joke. Also, stopping to do the handshake. Keep the pressure on, man. The dark side. Ugh. That can't taste good, right? Why are you here? Why are either of you here?
You don't know me and I hate you!
That's how you know it's love. Again, you can see where Uzi gets it from, right?
Kinda hot.
I will say, astonishingly resilient school bus.
Uzi?
Get back!
Uzi? Is...
Oh, hell yeah! I'm a damaged OC. It's her. Ow.
And yep, that's how I learned nightmares are real, and we probably should have stayed behind the old doors. And that maybe I don't actually hate it here as much.
Hero's journey, blah blah, threshold, blah blah, return, gift of the god. Yeah, I get it. I get it.
That's my girlfriend!
See, I know exactly what book that's referring to. I know exactly which book it is. It's not literally the one, but I know the one it is because I had it when I was 12. I know exactly the one it is.
Also, now I can do this!
Undercut sincerity with a joke. To the end. I mean, there's a limit to how much I can really say, I feel. The evidence of the quality here is reasonably self-evident, right? It's like, I don't think anyone needs me to tell them, like, oh yeah, this shit all looks really fucking good. The animators did a really good job of making this shit as maximally turbo awesome as they possibly could. And they did it using, like, most of the techniques we've already talked about, like tension and release, proper framing, good use of, like, visual effects and lighting to emphasize things that happen. Genuinely kind of astonishingly beautiful effects, animation, visual effects work on some of these space shots. And this must have been an absolute fucking monster to animate this fight scene. Right? Where, again, the main problem for me is that the stakes are at once far too low and far too high, in the sense that the stakes are the fate of the entire fucking universe. If you don't stop Sin here, she'll go on to eat every other planet in the solar system, etc., etc. It's the end of the fucking world. The stakes are the apocalypse. They cannot be any higher, right? But then on the other hand, the stakes are extremely low because Uzi has... There's no enmity between our hero and our villain, right? Uzi doesn't have a relationship with Sin as such, and they don't have a thematic narrative relationship either. Sin is just this problem that showed up that Uzi has to deal with, but there's no hero-villain relationship. And I mean that also on the thematic level. Because one of the troubles I have with Sin as a character is, what is she? And I don't mean that in terms of, like, the lore of the story or the backstory of, like, there was a AI program Grey Goo scenario with a thing that consumes everything. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, who is she thematically relative to our hero? What is that she represents? Like an easy example is Goku and Vegeta, right? During their first confrontation on Earth, when Vegeta comes down with Nappa and all of that, in their confrontation, there is a clear, specific thematic point being made in their confrontation with one another. Vegeta is this high-class royal Saiyan who's, like, from a royal bloodline, who believes very strongly in his heart that he has, like, a divine right, like a biologically endorsed, like scientifically proven right to be the strongest, to dominate, to control, to do whatever the fuck he wants and hurt anyone that it pleases him, right? And Goku stands against him as a lower class warrior who has built his strength through like actual like dedication and life experience and through genuine hard work. So there's a confrontation between these two things. There's a confrontation on a class structural level, right? Like this thing of like whether people are born to power or whether people earn the right to power through like dedication and hard work and like personal striving. And there is a thematic argument going on there about nature versus nurture, right? Like, which is sort of the core of the first Saiyan arc, is this thing of like Goku was sent to Earth, and because he lived on Earth, because he was taken in by Grandpa Gohan, because he had these adventures, he found these friends, he built this community around himself, that changed him, right? Like also getting dropped on the head as a baby, but you know, but those things changed him and shaped him into a person, right? Like who is capable of growing beyond the prescribed limits of the universe. Vegeta was born into a rigid class structure, and so therefore he's incapable of exceeding his own limits, right? Like that's one of the fundamental differences. So like even in something as relatively thin and shallow as like a Dragon Ball Z power fight, there are these like thematic elements of difference and conflict between the characters that are being resolved through their collision with one another, right? And what is sin in the story relative to Uzi's personal character drive, right? Uzi's personal want is, again, this is where we get to at the end of where the story is trying to tie it all together at the end with the hero's journey and all that. Like Uzi's personal journey begins with, we're stuck underground, this sucks, I want adventure in the Great White somewhere, I want to know what happened to things, I want to go out, I want to see some more, I want to follow the call to adventure, right? And the resolution of her thing is like, yeah, nightmares are real out there, actually, and maybe staying inside is better. Right? And where is sin in relationship to that, right? And the whole point, like, this is a joke, right? Like, this is not really a resolution of her character arc. We're making a joke about the hero's journey, that the hero's journey begins with a call to adventure and then ends with a return to where you came from, but in a changed state, right? Because that's the literal thing that's happening to her. But nothing that really happened in the conflict with sin relates to Uzi's character arc or her journey. Like, her character arc relates a lot more to her relationship with N, insofar as like there is that much of that. It doesn't really relate to sin as an entity, because sin is essentially a version of the Thing, right? And I mean, think like the Thing from the horror movie The Thing, which is, you have these scientists that are isolated on a research station in the Arctic. An alien is like interferes with their community. It has the ability to shapeshift and take on the form of literally any organism it can get in touch with and kill and consume. And the horror of that movie is the alien is isolation. The alien is total, sort of a total Cartesian nightmare, where you can trust that you yourself are a real person, that you yourself are not the Thing, but you cannot trust that literally anyone else around you is not the Thing, right? Like, it's this Cartesian nightmare where you are forced to doubt the reality of literally everyone but yourself. It's the horror of the Thing is isolation. The horror of the Thing is loneliness. The horror of the Thing is paranoia and solipsism from which there is no escape. And that connects to, like, the Arctic setting of the Thing, and it connects to, like, the personality of the characters that are in there, right? And Sin is sort of doing the same thing as the Thing, in the sense that she's capable of consuming and taking on the forms of other people and, like, wearing their skin as a means to generate horror. She does this in the final fight, which she takes on N's appearance in order to trick Uzi into thinking, oh my god, I've hurt N. Like, that's part of the horror that she's playing up all the time, is this idea that she can inhabit the skins of other people, that she's this consuming force that eats everything and turns everything into herself and assimilates everything into herself. But Uzi's conflict doesn't really relate to that so much, right? It doesn't relate to that total solipsism. It doesn't relate to that very much. Uzi is about wanting to go out and see adventure, and Sin is about, I want to consume everything and turn it into me. And there isn't really a natural relationship between these things. And it's not helped by the fact that Sin is not really a character. Like, she doesn't really have a character presence. She doesn't really have a drive or a want that's more complex than kill everyone and destroy everything. And be cruel also, on top of that. Just be cruel and sadistic because of evil. There's not very much character there in the show as it is shown, and certainly as it relates to Uzi. So the final confrontation between them is not really a final culmination of some thematic idea that the show has been building towards, so much as it is, there's a big scary threat and the hero has to deal with it because of otherwise everyone dies. But the investment that Uzi has in beating Sin is, I don't want everyone to die. But there's very little personal conflict there. And that, to me, like, renders the fight, like, the stakes for me feel low. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of particularly interesting stakes going on here, because the only stakes are either you win and then people don't die, or else you lose and everyone dies. This very binary, there's nothing personal at stake for Uzi as such. There's no character development at stake. It's just, here's a monster that wants to kill everyone, so you have to kill the monster before it kills everyone, and then that's it. Right. And it's a gorgeous monster. It's very well animated. It's a fun monster. The production values are absolutely off the charts. And at the end of it, what is achieved by defeating Sin is everyone doesn't die. Right? Not so much that Uzi comes to a greater place of self-realization or that anything really changes about her world. That's the other thing that's like, again, it's a comedy beat with the ending, right? Is that we end up right back where we started, and fundamentally nothing has really changed, right? Like, that's the joke, is we're right back in the classroom, we're right back giving the presentation, right? Maybe there's new people here, but we're back exactly in the place that we started. And the only lesson she takes away is, I learned nightmares are real, and I should probably never have gone out on an adventure at all. So the whole thing was pointless, and I didn't learn anything, but I have a cool demon form now. Right? And it's, as a denouement, it's like, oh, okay. It's a funny joke, but it is also telling the audience that, like, if you expected anything to meaningfully change, you were wasting your time. Right? If you expected the show to be going anywhere or trying to say anything, you wasted your time. What it wanted to say was, look at all this cool shit. Look at all of this rule of cool shit. Look at these cute little robot idiots holding hands and being cute with each other. And that's it. Right? And again, that's not necessarily evil or, like, morally wrong or whatever. But it's, to me, I just struggle to find it satisfying narratively. And I struggle to find it interesting. And it's frustrating because there are so many interesting threads you could pull on. Especially, like, the whole show, throughout the whole show, there's this obsession with cannibalism. Cannibalism, consumption, and the eating of bodies, right? Like, that's a horror image that the show returns to over and over and over and over and over again. Cannibalism, consumption, the eating of others, right? And if we take the idea that, like, Uzi feels stifled, right? Like, she feels constrained. She feels like she's stuck in this metal womb at the start of the show. Like, she's being held in place in this static, unchanging place where she does not feel at home, where she does not feel like she belongs there, and, like, it's crushing her, constraining her. There's a consumption element there. You can say, okay, I'm being eaten alive by this place. I'm being digested. I am being assimilated into this place. I'm being turned boring against my will, and I don't want to be boring. I want to be cool and exciting. Okay, then we can start to work with the idea of, like, consumption, cannibalism as a source of horror, and as an evil, right? Like, if the initial environment that she was in had been very explicitly constructed as consuming, assimilating, soul-deadening, then you could kind of work with it. But to the best of my memory, episode 1 doesn't really do that because it's too busy telling jokes, right? It's too busy going, ha ha ha, here's a funny joke, here's a funny joke, here's a lampshade, here's a lampshade, here's a lampshade, rather than actually exploring, like, what is Uzi's inner emotional life like here, and what is it that drives her to be so desperate to escape, right? Which is where, at the end of it, you can come back and have the place be changed, right? Like, in the sense that it's no longer a consuming, assimilating thing, but it's a place that tolerates diversity, right? Like, that allows for difference and exploration and curiosity and personal expression in a way that it didn't before. But again, joke. And also, Doll is dead. But they keep the corpse in the classroom. Ha 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 ha. This is funny. Because death doesn't matter. And that's the other thing, right? Like, the whole show trains you to be like, oh yeah, people dying doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's funny. It's funny when people are killed in absolutely horrifying, horrible ways. It's extremely funny. It is not horrible or scary or terrible. It is a joke. It's a joke that we can all laugh at. And then at the very end of the show, it's like, oh no, everyone's going to die. This is terrible. Wait, no, hang on. What? Is it terrible now? Now it's terrible? It was funny before. And then it was horrible. And then it was funny. And then it was horrible. And then it was funny. So which is it, right? Like, and it's... None of these criticisms are useful, right? Like, in the sense, first of all, that the show is already over. Like, it cannot be changed. But also, it's a thing of, it does boil down to, I want the show to be a different show than the show it is. And there's a limit to how much that's reasonable, right? There's a limit, the extent to which I would like the show to be something other than what it is. It's like, yeah, cool, but it isn't, though. Like, the show is the thing that it is. And so I try to focus on the positives, right? Like, I try to focus on the absolutely astonishing escalation of production values, the comedy beats that actually genuinely work, especially the fucking dinosaur. I will say, the fucking dinosaur is genuinely very funny. Like, the level of animation quality, the moments of genuine emotional heart between En and Uzi in particular, even though, again, wish the show would have spent some more time developing their relationship beyond they like each other and they're teenagers. Cute though it may be. Right, lampshade. Forget about all of this. Instantly get tunnel visioned on spooky course. Robot reveal, work backwards from there. Which that feels like an admission from the writer who's like being a little bit like, yeah, I didn't really have a plan. I didn't really know what I was doing. And again, that's the webcomic vibe, right? Like, the webcomic life cycle is often, you start a slice of life comic with some characters sitting on a couch talking about video games. Fast forward 500 pages, and now they are fighting God inside of a collapsing volcano over the fate of, like, I don't know, like, over the fate of, like, whether or not one character is allowed to have dreams, and also, like, whether they can transition to gender or whatever. Like, webcomics have a tendency to run this way, right? Where they start in one point, and then as they futz around with the characters, they begin to find these plot threads and these ideas, and then they just fucking run off in a direction and never look back, and whatever the initial premise was once upon a time is long forgotten and never gets returned to. That's very much the vibe here. Like, where a story is not really planned out, or there isn't really a strong thematic idea at the start of it, so much as it's a series of improvisational creative exercises that just escalate, right? And very much Murder Drones feels like that. It feels like a series of improvisational creative exercises that escalate. It feels like a show that started with, I want to do a bunch of lamp shading, I want to shout a bunch of tropes, and then I want to point out the tropes, and then I'm going to go, haha, the tropes! And also do some homages to some horror movies. And then from there, it's sort of like, okay, next up, what do we do next episode? I guess, okay, and then they land on that, oh, the mystery about the solver, and then we sort of fixate on that, and then, like, get tunnel visioned on the spooky corpse robot reveal, work backwards from there, right? That feels like very much an admission about how the show ended up in the state that it's in. And again, that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? Like, this sort of thing, if a studio, like, if fucking Disney had tried to make a studio that felt like this, I would probably be quite savage with it. I don't think I would be particularly forgiving. If Netflix had tried to put this out as like a corporate product, like I don't think I would be particularly forgiving of it. Because it is Glitch, because it is independent animation, because it is auteur-driven, like a person's personal vision and pitch and idea for this, like, this world of OCs that they're playing with. I feel a lot more forgiving of that, because that's much more human, right? Like, because it is not corporate art, I can be a lot more tolerant and forgiving of the human mistakes, right? And again, air quotes around mistakes. The human flaws, the human messiness of a story like this. And I prefer this still infinitely. Like, I would infinitely rather watch this than, I don't know, Stranger Things Season 5 or whatever. Where I think there's a picture that went around recently where the writer in the writer's room had ChatGPT literally open on his computer while he was writing the show. It's like, infinitely, like, I will take this with all of the problems 1,000,000 times before I spend even a single second of my life watching a show that's written by ChatGPT, right? I will spend 100 million hours watching shows like this before I waste a moment of my time on that, right? Like, I would rather watch this than any Marvel movie. Because messy and inconsistent and thematically shallow to a large extent as it is, it does still feel like the product of people, right? Like, of people doing the creative shit that people do, more than it feels like a bunch of focus testing. Being imposed on a writer's room that is, like, crunched all to hell and gets 20 minutes to write each episode. And the show gets rushed out for 8 episodes, and then it gets canceled after, like, season 2, and there's no point investing in it, right? Like, again, this show has the same problem of being only 8 episodes long, which is not long enough. There is a reason why shows used to be like 24 episodes to a season. It's because you need to have some more time to spend with the fucking characters. It's one of the biggest flaws of Has Been Hotel. It is one of the biggest flaws of just modern filmmaking and TV in general, is these fucking 8-episode seasons that are nonetheless saddled with having to do as much fucking development and character building as they used to do in 24 episodes, right? And again, Glitch is... I don't begrudge Glitch that they couldn't fund a 24-episode season of this. Like, absolutely not. They had to move on to Digital Circus, right? Which has been a substantially bigger moneymaker for the studio at this point. Of course they had to move on, right? Like, of course, Glitch is a small independent outfit. They can't necessarily really commit to 24 episodes of anything at a time. But again, I'm more forgiving of that from Glitch than I am from Disney, or from Paramount, or from Netflix, or from Apple TV, or from HBO, or who the fuck ever. Because Glitch is stuck in, like, have to constrain their things to, like, much lower episode runs because they are a small studio and they literally can't afford to do more than that a lot of the time. The big studios are doing it because they don't want to invest the money and time, right? Like, because they don't see enough of a return on investment in their minds. So, like, yeah, it's not for me, this show, which is fine. And there's a lot that, like, again, I would be very interested to see it get a second season and to see it try and maybe start from a better planned starting point. To try and start from a stronger thematic idea that you want to explore. Or, failing that, if you don't want to explore a thematic idea, if you don't want to start from a starting point, like, really, then be much more clear about that at the outset and say, no, we're not exploring jack shit, we're hanging out, we're doing shit posts, and we're having fun. And then, like, settle on that comedy bit and stay there without the temptation to get... Because, like, that's the other thing, is, like, the show doesn't settle there, it doesn't stay there. It starts to branch out. and escalate. And I'd be interested in a second season also if it had the discipline to say, no, small scale. We're picking a vibe from the start and we're sticking to it, right? Like, this is horror comedy, this is shitposts, this is lampshade hanging. We're making fun of tropes. That's where we're staying. I'd be interested in that as well. Ooh, ghosty.
You look great. Have you considered a bow, though?
Right, so the solver's still there. Sin is still around.
You look great. Have you considered a bow, though?
I don't think the bow works with the beanie. I really don't. Okay, thanks, bye! Yeah, like, no mystery. No mystery why people got obsessed with this. No mystery why people really got into theory crafting. No mystery why. No mystery why whatsoever. Like, its qualities are obvious. The draw is obvious. And genuinely feature film quality animation in this final episode. Like, astonishingly high level. Testament to what animators can do, even on an independent budget, if they just get, like, the time and space to really flex their fucking muscles. And it goes some way to explain, like, where the fuck the Digital Circus got all those animation chops from. It's like, you can see the development of a lot of that skill set happening in real time on Murderdrones as well. I think Digital Circus and Murderdrones were publishing together for a little bit there at the end. And it is genuinely also very impressive how good they got at emulating the visual effects and aesthetics of anime. And, like, these flat color surfaces and the approach to depth of field. And composition that is used in a lot of anime, especially when it comes to fight scenes. It is also one of those things, I would have been very curious to see this show animated in 2D from the start. Because again, while the animators got way the fuck better at handling, like, the weird Sonic the Hedgehog robot mouths and stuff over the course of it, it still does feel like these character designs were initially, like, as I believe is the case, were initially conceived to function as two-dimensional characters. And I would kind of kill to see, like, an anime movie of this shit at the same level of production quality. Because the 3D is amazing. as it is, I just can't help but also feel like the 3D is having to fight the character designs a little bit at times. That's a minor nitpick, though. Like, again, much, much, much more strongly present in the show in the start of the season, like in the first episodes. You can really see the show struggling against the constraints of the 3D models. And by the end of it, they have found a way to, like, make that shit basically seamless. I just can't help but wonder, like, what would a show like this have looked like if they had had the budget and the people and the capacity to produce it in 2D from the start? That's another curious question. And it's one of those things of, like, if they did a season 2, I can't help but worry, like, they would probably feel, like, constrained to do it in 3D, because that's what the audience is looking for, that's what the audience expects, right? That's what the audience would presumably want to see, and if they switched it to a 2D production, a lot of the audience would be like, oh, but that's not what the show was, that's not what it looked like, that's not why I fell in love with it. Which, you know, it's one of those things. Maybe they could do a special, I don't know. Once Knights of Guinevere gets confirmed for a second season, and they finish that, maybe that studio can do an OVA for Murderdrones. That would be cool. Because I really do want to see these character designs express in 2D. This fucking book. This fucking book. It's like being flashbanged. When I saw it was like being flashbanged. These motherfuckers, they know. Millennials, the lot of them. Good Christ. It's not a bad book, necessarily. Like, it's not great, but, like, it taught me enough of the foundations that I could start practicing on my own and get better than the book, so, you know. But still, it's like, ooh. There are better foundations to start from, I will say that much. So that was Murderdrones, huh? A very fun, interesting mess. Brackets positive. I think that's how I would sum it up. Yeah. I wouldn't mind if they did more of it. I wouldn't mind if they took another shot at it. I think that would be very interesting.